Good morning. It is March 1st in 2026, and we're going to go through something today. I went out to my mailbox and I got Todd Novak's Todd Novak's pamphlet today. So we're going to blind read Todd Novak's pamphlet. I could tell you the story about when I saw Todd Novak, but I didn't get a chance to actually speak to Todd Novak or his wife that was in Cuba City for the Heroic Awards a few years back. It's not about me, all right, but it is about how Todd Novak was in Cuba City, and that was like a really big deal, at least it was to me, so I let him know that I was going to be there, and I missed the opportunity to get to speak to him because there was a discrepancy in whether or not, I was going to be a respectful person, like at the Heroic Awards. I happen to be like a youth minister and like a youth group leader for the last 20 years of my life, on and off. Actually, if you want to say like on and off, like longer than 20 years. It was just supposed to be like a tribute. I never got the chance to actually speak to them. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about, I just saw that they were sitting there by themselves and I felt kind of bad about it. Like, people were kind of rude to them, but I made sure that I called his office and thanked him for coming to Cuba City. So if you want to know this story, ask Todd Novak, because I'm sure that he's told the story many times, and we'll be pleased to have him back in Cuba City anytime. I just want to let him know that we were grateful to have him here. But blind read of his pamphlet right now, because I really don't know a whole lot about him, except he didn't make Congress, I think, last year. Or no, he's a Wisconsin state representative, all right. Handsome gentleman. There he is. Let's see. Is this the front or the back? Here's the front. Okay, he says here that it has been my honor to serve the people of the 51st Assembly District. Thank you for trusting me to be your representative in Madison. So he is a representative, which means he's a congressman. He is not a senator. I think he was running for Senate last time, but he did not make it. Tommy Baldwin made that. Okay, he is thankful for the opportunity to serve as your voice in the state assembly. He's letting us know about some latest legislative news coming up. Just looking it over. He had the honor of chairing the Assembly Committee on Local Government, which I am getting involved in local government myself. I've been to, like town hall meetings, but I think I might be better suited to Chamber of Commerce, but you gotta fill out an application. They're the ones that do like the fun stuff in town, so, but I don't mind sitting in on the town hall meeting, so I at least like know what's going on. That's how I found out that he was going to be in Cuba City, so that I could be there to represent my town. That will happen again, though. I just got a little excited, so let's see. He served on the Assembly Agriculture Committee, the Assembly Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee, and the Assembly Consumer Protection Committee, and the Speaker's Task Force on Elder Services. That's very important, is as important as the youth, as well as continue to serve on the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority Executive Board. Okay, it says that he worked diligently to secure additional state resources for agriculture and dairy business grants, which I am hoping actually get a Pell Grant, because I'm so interested with the property that I have to maybe start growing some industrial hemp for the government, because I'm a female landowner, right? So there's a Pell Grant. Definitely industrial hemp is going to save the world. Not just for, because I know it was like pot, like, yes, of course I like marijuana, like medicinally, it's a medicine, but like industrial hemp, like will save the world. Like, not just for like making ropes and stuff, but there's like other medicines and things too that you can make with industrial hemp. But, clothing, it's like if you make like Carhartts and stuff out of industrial hemp, you cannot like penetrate them with like a knife or something. Like, I'm hoping to actually get a co-op with the universities, like between like the University of Wisconsin Whitewater and the University of Wisconsin Platteville. Once I get everything squared away with like the executor of my mom and dad's estate, have everything put back in my name. And I don't know, I haven't had a chance to even mention this, but my goal, like talking like 10 years ago, but because I've had like obstacles in my way, was to work with, just because like my dad went to Platteville, I went to Whitewater, business school, agriculture school, get a co-op, and get Pell Grants and like use it as learning opportunities, like everything will be squared away shortly, I'm sure. But like, yeah, so that's great. So guess who I need to talk to? This guy right here. I can talk to him about getting a Pell Grant, being a female landowner in Wisconsin, wanting to grow industrial hemp, which actually turns the soil over after like years and years of growing corn. It gives the soil like a chance to actually get back the actual like nutrients, like without being completely 100% depleted. And it's always something that I know, like I think my dad like mentioned in passing. I'm a vegetarian, right? My dad had beef cattle and stuff. Like we're the new generation we're doing farming differently. Like we're learning that it's like, we don't have to be dependent on using animals to make our money, because like with so many people that I know, and I know the same thing like with my father and stuff, and like his father before him and his brothers and all this stuff, it's like farming is like the joy of their life, right? Except for when it comes down to the part when you have to dispatch your animals, correct? He never had the chance to like do the industrial hemp thing like I want to do. Of course, my friends like grow pot, or like, they like that would be like a side quest though. Like if you want to actually like make a difference, like honestly get into industrial hemp. Also, like I said, to heal the land, give the land a chance to heal. When you grow industrial hemp, when you've been growing, corn is the worst one. Like soybeans, not so bad. Like I know they'll turn it over and like do soybeans and stuff, which, that's a good thing too. But like if you really want to give the land a chance to heal, you have got to grow some industrial hemp. Anyway. Okay, so the legislature also passed bills that provided historic increases to state funding for public school special education programs, sustained the Knowles-Nelson Stewardship Program, protect Wisconsin farmland, and continue to lower taxes for hardworking Wisconsin residents. Good news, right? He continues that, I am incredibly proud of this work, but I also realize that there is much more work to be done. I am committed to working with leaders on both sides of the political aisle. I love that. To continue to deliver real results for all of my constituents and continue to move Wisconsin forward. Forward Health Wisconsin. We are Forward Health Wisconsin, right? Thank you for placing your trust in me to be your state representative. I look forward to continuing to work on your behalf. Sincerely, Todd Novak, State Representative of the 51st Assembly District. If you want to contact him, this is his 411 right here. I'll take a picture of this and put it on my... Bipartisan is the thing now. When I was growing up, it was very kind of mean and nasty, kind of like the Packers and the Bears, but it was always like the the Republicans and the Democrats, like he says, deliver real results. Like, we want to deliver real results. It's not about like, you know, my side's better than your side. It's about, are we going to actually work together to like bring together this new earth that everybody works so hard for. So I'm excited about this. What else has he been up to? It says, keeping kids safe at school, funding the Office of School Safety. Okay, it says, like, while we hope that a violent incident or other tragedy never occurs, it's essential that we provide our schools with every possible resource, not only to prevent these tragedies, but also to equip our schools with the tools they need to respond and recover if one does occur, okay? Can we have a year, well, several years, can we have a year where there's not, like, one incident of like gun violence, or even like, you know, any kind of, I mean, why are people leaving their guns out like on their tables? Or why are people like, why are kids able to like just grab like an automatic rifle and like go to school and like shoot people? That's I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, why is that even a thing? In 2018, I authored legislation that created the OSS in response to the tragic Parkland, Florida school shooting. Since then, OSS, that's the Office of School Safety, has served as a critical resource for students, teachers, and parents, helping ensure safety in our schools. The original bill included $100 million in state grants to upgrade school security infrastructure and create critical incident mapping plans for emergencies. OSS also utilized federal funding to create a 24/7 anonymous tip line, Speak Up, Speak Out, which is abbreviated SUSO, to report threats of bullying, violence, or other safety concerns. Wow, there's so much information in this one pamphlet. Wow. He's doing a really good job for us, you guys. Wow, you guys. Read these. If these come in the mail, read them. I mean, as long as I've got you here, I might as well, like... Okay, in 2023, after conversations with Democratic Attorney General Josh Kaul, I learned that OSS expansion funding would expire at the end of 2024 due to the sunset of ARPA funding. In response, I worked with AG Kaul, right, and Senator Romaine Quinn, he is a Republican from Birchwood, to draft legislation that temporarily continued to fund the program using revenue from concealed carry permit fees. I'm not quite understanding, like, if that's a good thing or a bad thing here. Hold on. Oh, it's temporary. Yeah, he's funding a program that's like an anti-violence program. Okay, like, And late last session, Governor Evers signed our bill into law during one of his final bill signings of the session, extending funding through September of 2025. Well, then that's over with now, though. But, wow, there's a lot in here. Okay, short rail tax credit. Okay, it says in this session, I authorized a bill that would provide a tax credit for the purpose of improving and modernizing short rail train lines. Short rails are utilized throughout Wisconsin as a transportation resource for many Wisconsin businesses, particularly within the agriculture and industrial sectors. Short rail is often utilized as a proven cost-effective, reliable, and more efficient alternative transportation of freight. I actually have friends who used to, like, you're not supposed to do that, but, like, would jump on trains and, like, travel. But, the only train that I kind of know of is the one in Janesville, because I used to live next to the Tallman House, like, right next to that train, and, like, every day, like, the train would go off, and it was kind of cool. In my assembly district, over 100 million bushels of grain are shipped each year on short rail lines, highlighting the importance of short rail lines, particularly for the ag economy. Unfortunately, many short rail lines are aging and rapidly deteriorating. Many rail lines are over 50 years old. Some tracks were laid over 100 years ago. These outdated tracks can create safety concerns for both trains and automobiles. With short rail freight usage projected to increase nearly 120% by 2050, there is a serious need to modernize rail infrastructure to support this reliable, cost-effective transportation solution. So, I wasn't going to read this whole thing. Like, I was kind of, like, trying to skim this, but, like, this is actually some literature that you can't really skim, I'm finding out. So now I wish I kind of would have read this all the way through, but honestly, who's working hard? Like, who's working hard? Like, he's not wasting his time. Like, this guy's not wasting his time. Like, he's doing, like, so much good, you know? Okay. So this legislation allows claimants to receive a credit for maintenance expenditures that varies depending on the number of miles of railroad track owned or leased in Wisconsin. In addition, claimants may receive a credit for new infrastructure expenditures. So there's not much left on this. Let's just read it through. Okay. So much sun. Supporting agriculture. This is kind of, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Weekly Reader. Do you guys remember Weekly Reader? I hope they still have Weekly Reader in school. That's the reason I got interested in politics to begin with. I would bring home my Weekly Reader and I would look at it with my mom and dad. Do they still have Weekly Reader? I really hope that they do. If not, we got to bring that back. That's a Zennial thing, like the kids my age. Born between 1978 and 1985, Weekly Reader was the big, that's where we got our news, correct? Before Stephen Colbert, there was Weekly Reader, you know? This session, I continued to support the agriculture industry in our state. I was able to secure funding in the state budget that invests in local farms and helps address the financial strains they face. I secured an increase in funding for county conservation staffing positions that provided a historic increase to support additional staffing at county conservation departments. County conservation staff are the first point of contact for farmers and landowners who would implement conservation practices, something I want to look into with my property. If it is turned into a co-op, I know the guy to talk to now, don't I? I was actually like the guy that I really wanted to talk to was Professor Stephen Soldheim from University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, who passed away. I was so upset when I found out he passed away. I called him probably back in, or I attempted to call him back in like 2018, and he'd already passed away, and I was so upset. Like, so who do I talk to? Todd Novak, okay? County conservation staff are the first point of contact for farmers and landowners who would implement conservation practices to limit soil erosion and non-point source water pollution. I also secured additional funding for the dairy processor grant program at DATCP. These grants provide funding for dairy processors to modernize their facilities and operations by automating systems, developing new dairy products, expanding their processing capacity, and creating opportunity for farmer partners. As a state representative for the district with the most cheesemakers in Wisconsin, I live 2 blocks from Guile Cheese down here. I had the opportunity to tour local cheesemaker facilities and see in person the profound impact these dairy processor grants can have. Upland's Cheese in Dodgeville and Meister Cheese Company in Muscadet gave me an inside look at the production process of Wisconsin's world-famous cheese. So here's these guys. Rural healthcare. This session, the new Memorial Hospital of Lafayette County officially opened. Okay. The MHLC is a project that has been in the works for several years. In 2021, I authorized legislation that would provide grant funding for the new MHLC facility. I am happy to see my work in the legislature make a tangible impact in our communities. The MHLC will provide more healthcare services for all of Southwest Wisconsin and ensure that Lafayette County, that is where my property is located. It is by, it's between, it's in Shullsburg. They would count it Shullsburg. It's actually New Diggings. If you've ever been to New Diggings, it's, they would consider it New Diggings / Shullsburg, okay? The MHLC will provide more healthcare services for all of Southwest Wisconsin and ensure that Lafayette County and the surrounding rural facilities will have access to excellent healthcare for years to come. I also attended the roundtable discussion at Southwest Health. That's where Dr. Norton is a part of Southwest Health. Southwest Behavioral Services in Platteville. It's my bud, right? Got me through some hard times. So Southwest Health with medical professionals from all over Southwest Wisconsin. I wonder if he was there. I'll have to call him or write him an email and see if he also saw Todd Novak. That'd be interesting. Having these conversations gave me valuable insight into the impacts my legislative efforts have had on rural health care and what the legislature can do to continue to support health care in rural Wisconsin. And that's that. And I know that some people are kind of angry when I say we are Forward Health Wisconsin. We are the people. We are the power. We are the change. I could actually show you. Have you ever played this isn't a game, but if you want to know, why don't I show you? How much do I believe in We Are Forward Health Wisconsin? My goal is to get to Washington. And it's not all about me. It's about Representative Novak, but not like we play a game around here or anything like that, y'all. But if you think that objects have power or things like that, I did buy some clothes in case I went to Washington, right? And I didn't even know that was on this thing, but I'll show you what my goal is. I hate to show you what the outfit is. Here's my closet. Hey, how about this? Representative Novak, I am kind of thrilled to work with you now, bud. What's in here? I believe in Wisconsin, We Are Forward Health Wisconsin. They're closing quite a few hospitals and things. Do you want to know why? Now, which one do I have the Forward Health Wisconsin on here? Not like we're playing a game here, people, because we're not playing a game, but which one do I have Forward Health Wisconsin on? How about this? I didn't know this ahead of time. I thought if I ever went to Washington, I'll have one of those little name tag things, right? So I've had this in my closet. It's been a few years, right, since I bought these clothes, thinking that I might have a chance to go. I want to represent Wisconsin. They're closing down these hospitals and things, and I was brought up traditionally like a Democrat with major libertarian and independent themed parents that were kind of you know what I mean? About this. Here's my dad's bag, one of them. Got my luggage in here. Okay. Right. We are Forward Health Wisconsin. They're going to have more babies born at home. I know Ryan Upchurch had an issue with his daughter having a problem with like her breathing tube. Like she had a seizure, and like that never would have happened if they would have just had their daughter at home. Like there wouldn't have been all of that interference. You know what I mean? We don't need all these hospitals. I'm a caregiver. I was a caregiver for my parents for over 6 years. And then I was a caregiver for almost 2 years, like back in 2022, 2023, like more home care, less hospitals. Like, well, what are people going to do? Like, no, there's a cure for cancer. And, who's going to run the chemo machines, or who's going to do all that? Well, there's not going to be radiation machines. There's not going to be chemo, like people giving people chemo. Okay, well, what are we going to do about the people that run the ventilators? What about the people that have the ventilator jobs? Well, okay, well, I guess that's something for another video. But I'm grateful to live in the state that I live in and to live in the country that I live in. And I'm grateful for my freedom. And I'm so pleased to see what a great representative that we have in Todd Novak here in Wisconsin. So on that note, peace, right? And love. We are Wisconsin, Forward Health Wisconsin. We are Forward Health Wisconsin. All right?